Peoples, good morning and happy Sunday. We're up and we're getting ready to go to the store because the property owner is back in town and I'm gonna have to come back and update y'all in another video. But I was actually out to brunch yesterday when I got the call and I was with somebody else. And you know how you give people a glimpse of something you're going through? The first thing the person I was out to brunch with told me is that she was disturbed at how the woman was talking to me on the phone. Now, we went back and forth, but she said what I felt from her energy coming through that phone, because we were in my car and it came through the speakers. And she said the energy I felt from that woman on a call is ridiculous. So it always helps when you telling something for somebody else to actually be a witness to what it is that you've been telling people. Because yeah, I've said it, but it helped to hear somebody else actually understand what it is that I'm saying, I'm hearing when this person is talking to me. I ain't crazy, y'all. So, but I wanted to come on here because some things had came up about people that lacked nurturing when they were coming up. And I was one of those people. Now, don't get it twisted. I was taught boundaries and lessons, but I wasn't nurtured. And so I came across a very nurturing man during my walk. And he wasn't mad. Now, I want y'all to stay with me. Don't drag me over the coals, rake me over, none of that. Because I ain't the only person that then fell prey to this. And I don't even think that I fell prey to anything because I knew he had a woman. And he didn't tell me until like we were for real talking. We hadn't been sexually intimate or anything like that. But I was actually feeling him by the time he actually said something. And his thought was, I thought you had a man. I said, oh, so this would have been us messing around on our significant others together. And he was like, yeah, that's why I thought, you were okay with it. And I was like, no, I didn't know that about you. I'm single. But we had been meeting publicly and he didn't mind expressing public affection. And so as the relationship went on, because it did, and it went on for a very long time, I realized that it went on for so long because there was something I yearned for that I didn't receive from either of my parents. And this man was giving it to me. And by that, I mean, so the nurturing from someone that you're in a relationship with is different from that of a nurturing parent. I just hadn't received any nurturing. So he did certain things that made me feel good about myself. We could be driving and he would feel the need to just reach over and rub my thigh. No reason at all, just driving, and he got his hand on my thigh. Or he'll hold my hand while we were going somewhere, and he would hold it up and he would kiss the back of my hand. And if we slept together, he would sleep with half his body on mine. Like there was no moving, none of that. Now I had been slept in a bed with other men before, but one thing I learned that I cannot stand is when people sleep with their backs to each other. That irritates my soul. I don't like it. And I don't know why I don't really like it. I think it's that whole turning of the back thing for me. Because somebody else after him did it and it just irritated me. I felt as though that person was being disrespectful. So I know I was raised to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And it was shown to me by my mama and my granny. And if he's a man who's unhappy at home and I lack nurturing and he gives it naturally, and what he's lacking at home I already have in me, then of course there's going to be some sort of cohesion there. And I knew we was in trouble the first time we did a Shirley Murdoch, baby. And I had a male friend tell me if he really wanted to be with you, he would choose between you and her. Now, I contemplated the idea and giving him, an ultimatum or whatever. But here's the thing about being a king's kid. There are certain things that even though you out here doing wrong, it's that line again where it says you raise them up in the way that he or she should go and they won't stray from it. You don't stray from what you know is right. So there were certain things that people would say that would come up in me and I would be like, So it was like God would talk to me in the dead of the night, and it would cause me to change my whole thought process. And one of the things I knew I couldn't do, despite how I knew I felt about this man, one of the things I knew I could never do was be his woman. And I think it was because I was straddling the fence on one side of my faith, and on the other side was my wants. So yeah, I wanted a male authority figure. That comes with me having my daddy issues. I wanted someone who wanted to be with me, but I also wanted my own man. So faith is saying, be still and know. Right. Faith says he has never left you, nor. Right. Faith says, what do you deserve? Faith says, do you trust God will send you what you desire in the right packaging? I think somebody else needed to hear this. Somebody else out here with somebody else. Man, they needed to hear this. Now you got to keep in mind, because this is somebody else's guy. Come on now. And I think I was okay with this because other women had already done it to me. Now, some of y'all look at that like that's a cop-out. Then you should know how it feels. I did, but I wasn't in that place of, oh, I'm not going to do this to anybody. I was longing for a whole bunch of stuff. I got daddy issues. I ain't never had nurturing before. Like, this thing was real for me. So it wasn't a matter of me being necessarily concerned about the other person. And I was naive enough to think that there was a right way to do this. Like, in my mind, I was dumb enough to think that because the other women that did it to me were the type of women that would call and let me know what they was doing with my man and all this other stuff, I felt like they were thirsty to call me and tell me that. And I thought that I was being the bigger woman by staying in my place as the other woman. Jesus, y'all better shut down. I felt like I was being the bigger woman by not making them calls and adding gasoline to the house that was divided and on fire on his side already. That was my naive way of thinking in this entire process. Not realizing I was dealing with someone who was like me. I was dealing with someone who was lacking something himself. He just had never dealt with it. He looked outside his home for something to fulfill it. I was never to that point where I actually went in search of it because I never understood what it was I was lacking. It's almost like you don't realize what you lack until you get it for the first time. And when you get it for the first time, your whole thought process has changed because you're like, oh, I've been missing out on this all this time. This is great. This person is loving, giving it to me. And that's where my mindset was. His mindset was, whatever she ain't giving me, I'm going to go get it from somebody else. And my granny said all the time, what you won't do for your man, another woman will. That statement is so true. That's why you have so many cheating men out here. And I know y'all finna really drop some mess behind that comment, but you better think about what you're saying, before you go dropping that comment. So I wanted what I lacked, even though I didn't know what I lacked, but it was almost as if both of us were willing to take on what it was that we knew we lacked and we knew we needed, even if it was at the expense of hurting somebody else. And some of y'all gonna look at this and say, but their relationship was already messed up, and it very well may have been, but someone whole don't need to be with what ain't theirs. If I'm okay with me, I don't need what you got. I can get my own. And that was my thought process in the end. But the whole time this man was giving me what it was that I was lacking, I wasn't understanding that. Those that are whole are actually okay with being with themselves. And men constantly asking me, why you single? You crazy? No. In this process, since I've been dropping these videos and everything, there was a process I had to go through before I could give all this to y'all. And it was me reintroducing myself to me, behind everything that I had done, behind everything that I had put up with, behind everything that I had set out to do that just was being done wrong. If the relationship was really that bad, then what I had to understand is, if the relationship was really that bad, he was going to have to be man enough to leave what he didn't want without me giving him the option of what he used to and what he won't. Because that's exactly what I was doing. If I'm opening myself up to be with him, and he is in and out of a house that he's used to, but I am what he wants, then I just opened up the door to give him the options between the two women. Now, the sad part about this is it wasn't just me and her. It was me and her for a while, but then my circumstances changed and things changed between me and him or whatever. But I had to really understand why it was that I allowed myself to be put in a position like that. Now, I already know the person that I talk to about this, they're not ready to leave that man. The person that I talk to lacks more than nurturing. She lacks, her daddy issues are really thick, and she's young, and there's really no consistent pouring into her. So right now, the only voice she's getting right now is from this man who has a woman. So let me just say this. As women, we have a choice too. Men make a choice to keep what they used to at home, because they reference it as the main chick. I'm not thirsty to be nobody main chick. I'm thirsty to be a wife, though. I'm not gonna lie, I'm thirsty for that. I want a helpmate. I've been doing this too long on my own. What I'm not going to be is nobody's side piece, nobody's side chick, the other woman, or the main chick at the crib who know her man cheating on her. That's what I'm not going to do. So we have to understand who we are first, understand what our options are as a woman, and understand that when we make the decision to be the other woman, that it takes away from us actually being able to see ourselves as whole. I'll see y'all next video.